All right, hey, welcome to Hit. This is Chris Cicchinelli, and we are talking everything high-intensity tactics for growth. Today's going to be fun. You know why? Because here's the thing. I'm doing a check-in. I'm doing a temperature check-in on what is going on in your life, in your business at this moment. Here's why. We are now approaching the end of the first quarter in most businesses, right? So we are now getting done with January. So you got the January kind of like hangover from the holidays is over. You're kind of into February where you're like, hey, you know, I had this huge plan that I was going to go after. I had these huge, amazing goals that I was so excited about tackling. And typically you see that they starts fading about week 4 in January. And then you get into February and you get back to the same shitty ass routine that you were in once before. That's what I see typically that happens out there with the normal people. Not with the entrepreneurs, not with the business owners, not with the people that are running the different things that they are out there to do. But that's the people that sometimes you're leading, the people that are buying from you, the people that sometimes are thinking about your opportunity. And that's why I want to make sure today I did this check-in. I did it some sort of like, hey, what's going on? What's shaking in today's mindset of all the people that are listening to Hit? Because I had that same thing, right? I had that same mindset when I woke up today. I was like, okay, what is it? What is going on? What is success? You know, am I on the same path that I set out to be when I, got into 2020, when I got into this new decade, when I got into this new year? And I want to make sure that I kind of remind ourselves, first of all, I'm talking about success, and some people are like, oh my gosh, what is success? Well, what you find is most of the people, not us, not the ones that are listening to Hit, right? Most people don't write down what success is. They don't even define it. So therefore, they're always searching for it. It's kind of like the Easter Bunny and the Fountain of Youth. It sometimes does not exist because they don't know what they're looking for. Here's what I look at. Success, right? The definition is this. It's an obsolete outcome or result. The degree of measuring of succeeding, a favorable or desired outcome. If it's to attain wealth or favor or eminence or whatever, one that is succeeds. That is the definition of success. When you sit back and you look at it, that's the definition. But when you sit back and you write it down and you sit back and say, what does it look like? Like to me, success is this. Success is I still want to have double-digit growth. Success is I want to be able to go out there and change people's mindsets about how to own and operate a business, to try to make sure that people understand that success in life is abundant, not that it's only for a chosen few people, but it's for everybody. That's the deal. That's when you start looking at what success is. And every year I write it down. Every year I sit back and I define it for myself. I define it for my office. I define it for my family because I think you have to have it in all assets, all facets of your life. It's like, hey, what does your business success look like? What does your relationship success look like? What does your friend success look like? These are things that I'm telling you that people that are winning, people that are succeeding, they have a destination that they're trying to go to. They have written it down. They have talked about it. They have spoke it to the people that are involved to help them getting success, because I don't believe it can be done by yourself. I think a lot of the actions and things that we do, but I also think that you got to let other people know what does success look like and how can they help in this journey that you're on. Like I go to my board and be like, hey, this is what I need. This is the things that I want to get after for our organization. These are the things I think that, I visualize for us as a company. How can you help in that process? How can you help in that journey? It's important. But here's the thing. Most people already have a system right now and they're getting results. They have a system. And you know what? When you think about it, the system that most people have is the system of inconsistency. They are so freaking consistent at being inconsistent, therefore they're getting those inconsistent results. And therefore, they wonder why they're not getting the success. Why are they not getting to that end goal? I've mapped it out, Chris. I wrote it down, Chris. I've talked about it, Chris. I've spoken out there, Chris. Well, here's the deal is this. It's like anything else in life. It's like you have to put it into a routine. You have to put it into a system. It is that important. I just watch people that don't succeed and not getting to their end goal is not because they can't write it down, not because they cannot speak it. It's because they're not doing it. They're not doing it on a more frequent basis. It's like if you want to be great at something, what did your parents tell you to do? They told you to practice. They told you to commit to it. They told you to go out there, shoot as many free throws as you possibly can, kick as many soccer goals as you possibly can, do your spelling as many times as you possibly can, do your math facts. Do them over and over and over again until you get great at them. The same thing applies when it comes to success. It's the same thing. It should be like brush my teeth, take my shower, do my makeup, whatever it might be, and then look at my wall that sits back and goes, what's my plan for today? My plan is this. I'm going to make 19 phone calls. My plan is this. I'm going to make 5 contacts. My plan is this. And every day, you're doing that over and over again. The successful people, I've said this in multiple podcasts before, the successful people have a routine. What is your routine? Have you sat back and talked about your routine? Take time and write it out. It's a mindset, though. That's what it truly is. The problem is we go to Instagram and we go to Facebook and we go to all these other places, right? And we start doing the law of comparison. We start comparing somebody else's chapter 2 to my chapter 10. And then you get frustrated. You're like, why isn't it not happening fast enough? And therefore you think that you need to constantly change. You need to constantly change the routine. You constantly need to do something different to the routine. And the problem is you haven't even given the chance for the routine to actually be successful. You know what I'm saying. You're listening to this in the car right now going, shit, he's right. Every time you get into like 5 days into the routine or 10 days in the routine, you feel like it's not fast enough because we are in a fast food society. Everything needs to happen right now. Shit, McDonald's isn't even fast enough, right? I mean, think about it. But that's the mindset. The mindset is you got to give it time. You got to give it time to work out. So many people I see don't get the results right away, and then they're immediately making changes. They're immediately making changes. It comes down to this mindset that it is abundant that's out there. Success is for each and every one of us to go out there and grab. You know, we talk about this money, it's machine made. Success, well, that's female made or man made. That's what it is. We get to choose it. We get to decide. But it doesn't come without hard work. See, it takes action. It takes a lot of action. See, there's a lot of people that are sitting there going, okay, what do I need to do success? Okay, well, Chris said write it down. Great. He said to speak it. Great. He said if there's others involved, we have to talk to those others because we want to bring them into the world of helping us architect, helping us be part of the journey. Great. Awesome. All of those things are. Put it in that routine. Do it every day, not just every other day, every day. And give it some time to work itself through. Habits are formed in 21 days. And most people can't make it to 5. It's kind of like this, right? You've heard the old adjective like, hey, people that are on a diet, right? You've seen it before because I've been there, done that. Where on Sunday night, you get really excited. You're like totally pumped up about Sunday night, right? Because you're like, oh my God, I feel really bloated. So you take your butt down to the local grocery store. You go, you buy your vegetables, you buy your fruit, you buy your chicken, and all of a sudden you're baking everything, you're stir frying everything, and then you start making little containers. Like here's Monday. So you cut out the nice little chicken, you cut out your nice little veggies, you put your nice little fruit together, and you get it all set up. There's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you are ready to go for the week, right? You have all these intentions of having a solid week because you are tired of feeling bloated, you're tired of feeling like you're not yourself, and you're going to make a change. God bless it. So Monday, you pack your little knapsack, you go into the cafeteria, you're super excited, right? So you go into the cafeteria, you lay your little spread out, and all of a sudden you're eating it, and somebody walks up and says, oh my gosh, that looks so healthy. What are you doing? Well, I'm on a diet. Well, what kind of diet? I don't know. I found it on Pinterest last night, and I really think it's a really great diet that I'm gonna do. So you are super excited. Like you go through Monday, you eat your little food on Monday, then you go through, you go to the you're starting to wash your plates, you're starting to wash all your little Tupperware that you bring. You are super thrilled, super happy. You're not feeling stuffed. You're starting to feel really, really good about yourself. Then you go through and you go to Tuesday. Tuesday, you do the same thing. Well, then it comes Wednesday. Oh, Wednesday. The day that you're sitting back and it's half week over, right? Like you're almost done. But then Wednesday, it's like you start looking at your watch at like 9:30. You're like, man, I'm really hungry. I haven't eaten anything. I need to like eat. Like, when's it going to be noon? When's it going to be noon? When's it going to be noon? And then you get through Wednesday and you actually eat your meal on Wednesday. And then on Wednesday night, you go home and you pass out because you've not put any calories into your body, right? Like you're kind of doing the whole Pinterest starving myself kind of diet. And then you go to Thursday. Thursday, you're like, okay, I just barely make it. You're falling asleep like every 5 minutes at your desk. And then Friday. Friday is amazing. Friday, all of a sudden, you're feeling really good. All of a sudden, you can start seeing some of your ribs, right? You're like, okay, I'm starting to lose a little weight here. I'm feeling really good. My pants are starting to fit a little bit better. So you go deep into the closet and you find those jeans you haven't put on in a long period of time. And you start putting them on and like, oh, yeah, they fit again. And you are totally stoked. And then what happens is this. Somebody Friday afternoon goes, hey, we're all going out for cocktails after work. You want to come? You're like, sure. Now, this is a really bad idea because you haven't eaten anything like all week long. And you decide that you're going to go out and have cocktails. Well, one cocktail turns into two turns into three, and three turns into the fried cheese platter. And then you eat the fried cheese platter, and you know what? What happens is you're feeling really good about the weekend, and all of a sudden you go and you do that, and then you wake up on Saturday morning and you're hungover. And you decide that you need to go out there and cure the hangover with something greasy, like a cheeseburger or like some food. That's what you see that happens. That's the whole thing. You sit back and you had these great intentions about doing something and then change within 5 days. That's what I see with business owners. That's what I'm constantly seeing. You've got to stick to it. You've got to resist that urge to go out there. People have too much FOMO in their life, right? The fear of missing out. They don't have enough discipline when it comes to really being successful. And that's when I sit back and say, okay, there's a couple different ways that you could take a look at success, right? You could be part of the group that goes out there and does nothing, right? That group that sits back and says, I'm going to do nothing about being successful. I'm not going to take that much action. I can't do anything to change my life. I got this life. It was given to me, and I'm just going to stay here and live through it. That's what I see a lot of people go through, because a lot of people don't really believe that they have the ability to change anything. They just truly go through life. I got to get a job. This is what it is. And then it's going to get better some other point in my life. I see that a lot. Or you could do the people that retreat, right? The retreat people, right? The avoid failure at all costs. Like, I don't want to go out there and own my own business. I don't want to, I don't know about doing the cold calling because I don't want to have anybody say no to me. What's your fear? Why do people have that huge fear of failure so bad? Like, the most successful people I know, including myself, failed a lot. I have way more failures than successes. But people think, oh my gosh, well, you have a big house and you have cars, you run a large company, you have a plane, you have all this other shit. You must have not failed at anything. Shit, I got my MBA and failing. I still to this day am working through failures. Like, I ask people all the time, like, where did I let somebody down today, if it might be in my creative department or if it's in my merchandising department or whatever? Like, I'm constantly figuring out, like, I'm failing, but I don't give up. I'm not going to just retreat. I'm not just going to take the answer of like, okay, it's not working, so let's stay with the same shitty ass product. That's not going to do it. That cannot happen. Or you can take the normal level of actions. Well, normal these days is not really that great, because what the definition is normal is average, right? Well, if you go for average, then you always have average pay. If you go for average, you might even have below average pay. And who gets kicked in the ass during a bad time? Well, the average. The people that are just going to the average. I hate when somebody sits back and goes, hey, Chris, you know what? Inside the pay plan that you have, that I have to just do my minimums. I hate the word minimums. Why would even somebody that is owning a business step back and think minimums was okay? Like, when somebody puts a budget together and they say, man, I'm going to have a 1% increase in my business next year. That's normal? No. That's not what you're playing for. Not if you're listening to Hit. And if you are, turn me off, because I'm not for you. I'm definitely not for you. I'm for the people that want massive amounts of action, that take massive amounts of action because they understand the only way they're going to get shit in this world is if they absolutely commit 100% to it. But commitment scares people, man. Taking massive action and being able to commit to it. Because when you commit to that, you have to sacrifice so much shit. Nobody likes the word sacrifice. It's not easy. But if success is that important to you and you've defined it and you're tired of living the same shitty life and you're tired of like always just coming up short all of the time, then you have to do something about it. I have so many people that make so many excuses about why they're not where they need to be. And that's why I want to do that check-in and do a level set. It's March. You're getting into the end of the first quarter. This is where most people have already given up on their 2020 plan. This is where most people have already thrown in the towel. This is where most people have sat back and said, you know what? I'll just wait till 2021. I mean, that is people's mentality, not the successful people. That's not how we operate. See, I think you got to be the massive action. You got to be willing to work. You've got to be willing to be disciplined. You got to be willing to be eager. You got to be willing to continue your knowledge base, to continue to keep learning. Find that new book, find that new podcast, find that new friend, go to the networking events, talk to as many people as you possibly can. You got to be willing to have a kick-ass work ethic. That's what it's going to take. And you got to be willing to be real with yourself every month. You got to be willing to evaluate yourself every month. It can't just be that you put these goals out there in January and you never looked at them again. You got to be willing to say, am I moving forward? Am I progressing? This is your level set. This is your level check. It's March. You're getting into that third quarter. Are you still on target? Are you still on plan? Is success still in the front of you? Can you see it? Can you taste it? Can you hear it? Is it that important? Because if it is, all of those things you should have said yes to. This is HIT. High intensity tactics. Go out there. Make sure you understand living life by design, not by default. That means this. You get to choose. Nobody chooses for you. You choose. Have a great day, everyone.